This one here don't work. Guys, if you've ever fought trailer lights on your boat, welcome. I'm going to put an end to that right now. Not only that, we're going to take this trailer and give it a little touch of spice. From this point all the way up to the trailer tongue, there's no marker light. And, well, that's just not how I do things. So we're going to spice it up, throw some chicken lights on there, replace all these incandescent lights with LEDs. Not only that, we're going to make a little running model to show you exactly how to wire your lights and, you know, why a trailer light lays out the way it does. So you're not going to want to miss this one. Stay tuned. So when it comes to marker lights, I just absolutely love these little Maximas. Now, as you can see, it comes with a rubber grommet, so there's no mounting screws. All you do is drill a 3/4 inch hole on any material that is 1/8 of an inch thick or less, okay? Push the grommet into place and then push the light, which is a full epoxied cup, okay, into the grommet, and it's completely mounted. Here's an amber, okay? Make sure if you're using marker lights on your trailer or you're adding additional marker lights to your trailer, that amber is allowed to go to the side and the front of the vehicle, but only a red is allowed to go to the rear of the vehicle. So make sure anything that faces the rear of the vehicle is red, and keep you up to date on the laws. Make sure you don't get pulled over. Now this next part might be just a little above average for the guy who's going to try to wire his trailer and watching this video. However, sticking with the 2x6 theme on our trailer that already has 2x6 inch lights on it from the factory, I want to go above and beyond. I want to make sure that everybody following me is kind of blinded by my lights to the point to where they don't want to follow me so close. Okay, stay away from my prop, please. But so on a standard 2x6 inch oval light, the boot, the rubber housing, requires a 2.5 inch by 6.5 inch hole. And we do that simply by drilling 2.5 inch holes with our hole saw. Okay, as you can see, I left these in place to show exactly what I did. All I did was have them over at an angle. So this C is cut and this C is cut. And then I'm simply going to draw a line in between the two of them, take my cutoff wheel, and connect the dots. So let's go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll double the lights that are at the back of the boat. And I think our rubber grommet will fit right in here now. Okay, I want to make sure that I put my rubber grommet all the way in there because there's just a little notch on the back of it. And then I'm going to kind of wiggle my light into place. If it pushes the rubber grommet in, just kind of yank it back out. And just like that, we double the amount of light that's on this side. Now, since we've got two lights here, both of them will be our brake lights and both of them will be our turn signals. Well guys, as you can see, we went ahead and got the rattle can out and we changed our off-white trailer into a gloss black wagon. And I've got to say, everything pops. All the straight panels, you know, brought back to life, making sure that everything has got a nice clean sheen to it. But more importantly is the steps that we're taking to rebuild this trailer. You do not want to paint it and then cut the holes, or run new wires and then cut the holes. You want to do it in the steps that I'm showing you today. You want to remove your light fixtures, but leave the wires where they are, okay? And then do the fabrication part that you wish, like we put in a another set of 2x6 lights. And then we also went and we drilled all of our 3/4 inch holes that we are going to mount marker lights on in this trailer, and there's gonna be a bunch of them. Not only that, we're doing something just a little bit custom to help us load the boat a little bit better, when the sun's down and it's pitch black out and all of these lights go into the water. We've got a special set of lights that are going to be on the frame that's out of the water, and should look pretty cool when it all comes together. Without further ado, it's time. Our paint's dry. Okay. On this project, I used Rust-Oleum's 2X paint, and I did the whole trailer with 4 cans. I did, underneath, over top, some rails got a couple coatings. I did both of the fenders, both of the axles, both of the inner brake chambers, everything that was visible got at least one good solid coat of gloss black paint, and it really looks good. So without further ado, it's time to go ahead and run our fresh wires for our lights. But before we do that, we need to make a game plan. I don't want to just run all 4 lights or all 4 wires through every single rail on this boat. I don't need to run my yellow wire on the right side of the boat because it's only going to operate the left side, and vice versa with my green wire. So I want to make a plan. I need to have a running wire, which is my brown. It needs to go down both frame rails and across the back, okay? And my ground wire needs to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 2 wires down both frame rails, as well as my green on my right and my yellow on my left. As I pull the boat together, I'm going to do it with 3 wires down each side. A running, a stop, turn, tail. A running, a stop and a turn, and a ground. Okay, so those 3 are going to come down each frame rail, and everything's going to kind of meet up right here in the back. If you're following along, this is the reason why we didn't remove our old wires while we were doing our fabrication. You see, I can use these old wires to pull in new wire. And the only reason that I'm actually replacing this wire is because the frames had rodents in it. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, which ensued this project, we had shorts and lights that were flashing, and I pulled a couple lights out, and we had mice get into the back cross member there and shoot up a bunch of wires. So just to make sure that they haven't gotten into anything else, we're going to go ahead and replace this wire. So all I've got left to do on this side is my yellow, my white for my ground, and my brown for my running lights. Now, we did add a secondary wire to that side to run our ground, since the ground that's coming with our 4 flat is going to go on this side. Now, since we've got our old taped to our new, I'm ready for Amy to go ahead and pull, and I'm just going to sit here and guide through the hole and make sure that the housing around the wire doesn't catch a snag and possibly damage my wire. Okay, that's all there is to it. 25-foot section here. She's got everything I need back there, and I've only got about 2 feet left. That's all right. We're going to add some wire to this tongue when we get done. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this end off. That way it doesn't pull through the trailer while I'm working on it. Let's start at the back, start wiring up some lights. Now, these particular 2x6 round or oval shaped lights have their own plug into them, so these can come free, okay, which is nice. You want to make sure that there is some contact grease on there. These don't have it. I'll come back and put some on later. But for right now, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and disassemble our light, make sure everything's apart. All right, there you go. Now I'm going to put my lenses up here on top, and the first thing I want to do before I even pull my wires through is put my boot on. This way I know once I get everything done, all I've got to do is push the lens into place and we're done. Now, since this particular setup is going to allow me to push this insert on my light around the corner and go to my second light, I'm not going to worry about threading everything through. All I'm going to do is make sure that all of my wires coincide. So let's just start right here with the ground. Okay, here's my 2 white wires on my plug. They've got a little clasp on the end of it. We'll go ahead and cut that off. And how I like to do my wires is I'm going to take my stripper and I'm going to strip about 3/8 of an inch off the end of it. Okay, maybe not quite, maybe 1/4. All right, I'm going to twist these just a little bit, and my favorite connections are these crimp style connections. Okay, in my opinion, not that one. I don't like that one. These, the clear ones. Okay, the ones that you can heat shrink are even better. But the clear ones, I can see where the wire is. I know exactly where it needs to be, and once I've got everything in there, then I can crimp it down really hard. All right. So this pair of lights is going to be probably one of the simplest connections to make. So we'll just go ahead, make these other 2. All we're doing is tying these 2 fixtures together, okay? And since they're on the same side of the trailer, they're both stop, turn, tail, they're exactly the same, I can do that. Okay, now we'll do our blacks. Now remember, the white is the ground, the black is our running lights, and the red is our stop and our turn lights on these LEDs. Go ahead and make sure that my crimper, or that my connection, is pushed down as hard as possible, and then I'll make my crimp, put my crimp right in there all the way to the end of it. That way it crimps the end of the wire, and then there you go. All that does is put a nice little indentation, okay, on the wire, and I can't pull those 2 apart. Probably one of the best connections aside from soldering. If you want to solder, I don't know, 40 light fixtures, you go right ahead. I'm not going to do it. So we've got 3 wires ran here, okay? Once again, white wire is our ground. So all I'm going to do, come here and I'm going to strip, let's call it a heavy 1/4 again, and then I'm going to grab my connector here with the ground side on my LEDs, line my connector up, push it in tight, and I should have a connection that will last a long time. Now, my running lights, my brown wire, I'm going to go ahead and strip it. Don't like that. I'm going to go just a little bit more. Okay. That'll give me the full depth that I need. This is my black wire on my LEDs. And we'll make that connection. The only connection that we've got left to make is our yellow wire. To have just a little bit more meat than that. There we go. And if you see me twisting, okay, the reason I twist the end of the wire before I put it inside the connector is to make sure that all the little strands are good and tight. And if you can see that right there, okay, against the black, all the strands are good and tight. I don't have any tiny little strands that are hanging off to the side. And actually I bumped the side of the connector there, so I'm going to twist it again because I had one pull free. Okay, I'll line my connector up, and I want to make sure that I don't have any strands of that wire coming out of that connector. This is a positive wire, guys. You don't want the slightest little piece of wire hanging off and grounding out in the trailer. It's probably not going to affect your lights, but it could. So we want to make sure that we do it the right way. So I'll just take my connection here, slide it back around to this hole, and I'm ready to go ahead and install my lenses. Now, as you can see, these connectors can only go in one way. So we'll pop them into place. And then there's really no up and down. Went in a little too deep. That's alright. We'll come back and get it in a minute. I'll go ahead and stuff all my wires in here. Since I got a little extra, I want to go ahead and just shove it in there. Now the reason I'm shoving my extra in there instead of cutting it off is if I have trouble, I want extra wire in there that I can come back and cut out and, you know, whatever I need to do. Okay, so go ahead. Now this one was the factory one that we had already had in place. Gotta uncover a reflector. Makes it so pretty. So as you can see, we've got just a little bit fancy when it comes to doing our lights here. This is a tube chassis, which makes wiring completely difficult as far as hiding wires and putting marker lights in and things of that nature. My best tip for you, a piece of coat hanger, okay? Go ahead and make a nice little hook with a sharp little point on the end of it. That way you can dive inside, scrape the bottom, and then pull that wire up to this tiny little hole. All right, and that's what we did. We've got our brown wire and our white wire, but we're not only going to put one marker light in here, we're going to put two. I've actually got another hole right here on top to do something special on this boat trailer. So what I'm going to do now, I will go ahead and thread my secondary through the top, okay, just pull the tails down, and then I've got another one set up to go on the side here, and I'm going to go ahead and strip them, and then we'll show you how to wire them up. I'm just going to tie into it. Okay, so I want to go ahead and cut both wires and go ahead and strip both sides. So my original marker light that's hanging down here, I'm going to go ahead and tie into this side, put my connector on, go ahead and crimp it down. And then the other light, I can take the other side of my loop, go ahead and give this a little twist so it'll go in my connector better. And then I can go ahead and crimp it down as well. And my grounds for both fixtures are already done. We can go ahead and do the same thing for our positive side. Now that we've got all our connections made, it's just simply a matter of stuffing all the wire back inside the hole, which only takes a second. Okay, all our spare wires down inside our hole now. I'm going to pull my grommet off the back of the light. And now it's time to affix the grommet inside the hole. Wiggle it so it's exactly where you want it. Now, being a dry fit, it is kind of difficult to get these to go in sometimes. So I'll just put a little spit on there, line it up, and these do have a up and down, left and right. I'm just going to index it the way I've been doing it the whole boat and pop it right into place. This light's done. Now, I did my grommet on the top one, and it'll be done as well. We can move on. We've got 2 more fixtures on this side, and the project will be complete. Well guys, as I show you off the fruits of our labor for yesterday's work, we got the boat back on the trailer. If you guys want to know how I dropped this trailer and put it back on, go ahead and look in my previous videos and you'll see the steps that I took to do that by myself here in the yard. For those who have come here to learn a little bit of trailer wiring and some DC electrical, I hope this has helped you. Don't forget to subscribe, share, smash that like button if you like what you've seen here today. Ring the bell so you get that notification. You come back and see what's going on. And we'll see you next time right here.